Hello guys, welcome. Today let's learn about heat. When we hear about term heat, we remember is summer. Heat is generally a coldness or hotness. We wear woolen clothes during the winters because it is cold outside. Woolen clothes keep us warm. But in summer we wear light colored cotton cloths. Why? Because the light colored cotton cloths keep us cool and gives the coolness to our body. Because it is hot outside we wear light colored cotton cloths as they absorb heat very less. In winter we feel cold inside the house, but outside it will be hot. But in the summer we feel hot even inside the house. Hot and cold. We get so many things around us. How can we say it is hot or cold? For example, ice cream. You all might have eaten ice cream in the summer. Why? Ice cream is a hot or cold? Ice cream is a cold. Spoon in a teacup. If a teacup is hot, then the spoon obviously gets hot. Fruit juice. Fruit juice depends on if you keep the ice in that fruit juice, it will be cold. If you keep it outside, it will be a warm. So fruit juice, let us consider it is cold. Handle of a frying pan. It also depends on what kind of frying pan you are using. There are some kind of frying pans which use insulators. You will learn about insulators in upcoming. So frying pan. So you all might have used the frying pan in your home. You might not feel the hotness if you touch the handle of frying pan. The handle of the frying pan is hence by we consider it as cold or normal or sometimes hot. So you can also do the activity, touch the objects around you and let us classify them as hot, cold or normal. So there is an activity you can do at your home. Take 3 small vessels, in that fill the cold water in A and in B fill the hot water and mix both cold and hot water in the third, that is C. So first put your left hand in cold water and right hand in the hot water for 2 to 3 minutes. You can feel the coldness in the left hand and in the right hand you will feel the hotness. Now after 2 to 3 minutes take your both hands and keep it in mixture. What you feel? Sometimes you feel cold or sometimes you may feel it as hot. So by the touching or the touch sense we may not get it is hot or cold sometimes. Sometimes the touch sense can also deceive us, can also tell us lie. So then how we measure if the object is hot, cold or normal? Then how to measure the hotness of an object? Let us see. Before that, let us see about temperature. What is temperature? The measure of hotness or the coldness of an object is generally known as temperature. Now, so I told by touching we cannot sometimes say it is hot or it is cold. For that we use a device called thermometer. So for measuring the temperature we use a device called thermometer. So there are various types of thermometer. First is a clinical thermometer. You might have seen when you visit to a doctor, he keeps a clinical thermometer in your mouth to check the fever. So the clinical thermometer is used to measure the human body temperature. So generally the human body temperature does not goes below 35 degrees Celsius or above 42 degrees Celsius. Hence the clinical thermometer generally ranges from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Just now I used the term degree Celsius. What is degree Celsius then? Temperature can be measured in terms of 3 degrees, that is or 3 units. First unit generally and most commonly used is degree centigrade or we can call it as degree Celsius. Temperature can also measure in terms of Fahrenheit, that is represented as degree F, and also the temperature can measured in terms of Rankine R. These all centigrade, Fahrenheit, Rankine are named after the scientist who discovered them. And the normal temperature of the human body is generally 37 degrees Celsius. So, take a thermometer and check your body temperature. If it is more or less, then you can say you are having a fever. As I told, clinical thermometers are used for body measuring. So, what about the temperature of the objects? How can we measure them? For them, we use the laboratory temperature or the laboratory thermometers. Laboratory thermometers are used for measuring the temperature of objects which are having the higher temperature. The laboratory thermometer looks like this. It is having a long tube made up of glass, and here there will be mercury. Laboratory thermometer is generally having a range of temperature from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. So here you can see the thermometer will be marked here starting from minus 10 degrees Celsius, and it goes on increasing, and up to 110 degrees Celsius it will be marked. And at the center there will be a level which goes on rising when you dip this or when you keep this in the hot body. I have a wall thermometer with me. You can see this is a wall thermometer. Here you can see it is marked in terms of C and F. As I told, temperature is measured in terms of centigrade and Fahrenheit. C here represents Celsius or centigrade, F is Fahrenheit. You can see it is starting here from minus 10 degrees Celsius and goes up to 50 degrees Celsius. Similarly, in terms of Fahrenheit, you can see it is marked here from 20 to 120. In the middle, you can see there is a glass tube, and you can also see the red line over there. What is that red line? That is mercury. I'll show. See, here you have a bulb shape. This bulb shape is filled with red color, some liquid. It is actually mercury. You can see it is raised. So, how to read this? Let's see how to read a thermometer. So, let's read the temperature of this room. Here you can see where that red line stops. Have a closer look. It is stopped nearly around here, right? How to read this? You can see here is the marking. This is 0, 10, 20, 30. So, it is slightly more than 30 and less than 40. So, here each division is there. So, how much each division means? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, there are 10 divisions between 30 and 40. So, here each division is 1 degree. So, how much the room temperature is now then? That is 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So, the room temperature is 34 degree Celsius. In terms of Fahrenheit, how can you say? So, let's see. It is 80 and 100. So, it is between 80 and 100. How many divisions are there between 80 and 100? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, there are 10 divisions between 80 to 100. So, for that there are 10 divisions between how much? 80 and 100. So, how much does each division means? So, what is the difference between 100 and 80? So, 100 minus 80, that is 20. So, that is total 20 degrees. So 20 divided by 10, that will be equal to 2 degree. So each line or each division here represents 2 degree Fahrenheit. So now let's see how much in terms of Fahrenheit. So this is 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92 and 94. So our room temperature is 94 Fahrenheit. Hope you have understood how to take or how to read the thermometer. This is same in all thermometers. This is the room thermometer or wall thermometer. Similarly, in the clinical thermometer, all you have to do is count the divisions and divide it by how many lines are in between them. Here directly he given, that is in terms of 1 by 1 and Fahrenheit in terms of 2 by 1. So from this only you can see that each division is 1 degree and here each division is 2 degree. So I told this red filament or red fluid here is mercury. What is mercury then? Mercury is actually a toxic substance. It rises when it is exposed to heat. So but mercury, it is very difficult to dispose if this thermometer breaks. So the mercury which is having a difficulty in disposal are now replaced by digital thermometers. The digital thermometers does not use mercury. Instead, they use some sensors. Let's do one more activity and check the temperature of the cold water. I have taken an ice water or the fridge water in this mug and I will keep this thermometer. Actually, the laboratory thermometer are used. As I have this room temperature measuring thermometer, I am using this. Let's see the range or the temperature of this cold water. We will place this inside the cold water and let's see the temperature after some time. You can see the red mercury level in the thermometer starts to decrease. You can see the range, the room temperature was 34 and it is now reduced to around 10 degrees Celsius. So the thermometer reading let us take now. So take out the thermometer and check the temperature. You can see the temperature over here, it is around 9 degrees Celsius. See, the mercury level inside this thermometer is reduced. Now I have taken a lukewarm water. Let's check the temperature of the lukewarm water. So I will place the thermometer inside this and let's see. You can see the mercury level started to rise. Observe. The mercury level is now nearly to 40 degrees Celsius. So this shows that the water here is warm. So as I am using a wall temperature, I have just took the warm water. So if you use the laboratory thermometer, you can check the temperature range around 110 degrees Celsius. So you can see the temperature range is 36 degrees and now after I took it out, it is again going reducing. So let's place again and see. Observe, it is again started to increasing. The mercury level is started to increase again. So it is now rise to around 38 degrees Celsius. So take it out and check the temperature again. Again it is decreasing. You can see the temperature is falling, the mercury level is falling. So it reached 35, goes on reducing. So from the thermometer you can check the temperature of any object. Now let's learn about transfer of heat. How does heat transfer from one body to another body? So heat transfers or flows from hotter object to the colder object. This is true for all. Let us see how much it is true. For this, let's do some activity. Here we will take a scale and place the wax on it and heat it. So let us do activity and see what happens when we place the wax on the scale and heat it. So for the activity, to show the heat transfer through the conduction, we have placed the wax at each point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we will heat it and let's see what happens. We have lighted a candle and now bring the scale to the one end of the candle and heat it. So the other end of the scale is fixed. We are heating only one side. You can see the first point starts to melt. So this shows that heat is getting transferred from one point to another point. Observe. So you can see the first wax got completely melted. So we are heating it further continuously. Now you can see after some time the second wax started to melt. You can see the second point is also melting. So we are not moving the scale here. We have kept the scale constant and we are heating it with the candle. So you can see heat is getting transferred from one point to another point in solid. So this shows that heat transfer occurs in solid by conduction. So we are heating at one point and the other point starts to melt. This is heat is getting transferred from 1 to 2. Now keep observing, the third point starts to melt after some time. So you can see after some time the third point also started to melt. This shows that heat transfer occurs from solid in terms of conduction. So conduction is heat transfer in a solid body from one point to another point without actual movement of particles. You can also see this separate activity in our another video of experiments. The link of that experiment is given in the description. See it and get the clear idea of conduction. So from the experiment we saw that as we goes on heating, the wax one by one starts to melt. The process by which heat is transferred from hotter end to the colder end of an object is known as conduction. So here in this scale, the scale is a solid body. So when we started heating it, it goes on melting. That is, the conduction of heat occurs here. The materials which allow heat to pass through them easily are known as conductors. For example, aluminium, iron and copper. So, if you take this pen and if you heat it, it will burn. It won't transfer the heat because this is made up of plastic material. But when you take this metal or the steel scale, it will transfer heat. So this is a conductor and this, what we can say, this is a non-conductor. The materials which do not allow heat to pass through them easily are called as poor conductors. Poor conductors are also known as insulators. For example, plastic and wood. Wood does not transfer heat, it will start to burn, and also plastic, it won't transfer heat, whereas this steel scale transfers heat because it is conductor and the plastic is non-conductor or insulator. So in the objects like solids, heat transfer occurs through the conduction. So what about in the liquids? What about in water and other liquids? it will heat transfer through convection. Not only in liquid, in air also the heat transfer occurs through convection. So let us see by doing an activity. For the activity, we will take a candle, a light candle, and we will observe one hand above the flame and one hand on the side of flame. Let us see what happens when we do this. Now let's see heat transfer through convection. We will place our hand on top of it and on side of it. So when we place our hand on top, you can feel the heat. So when we place the hand on the side, we doesn't feel heat. This is because heat transfer through convection. So from the activity, we can conclude that air towards the top heated by convection, whereas air towards the sides of the candle there is no convection. So when we kept the hand above the flame, we felt hot. When we kept the hand on the side of the flame, we feel nothing. So why? Because one hand, when we kept the flame up or towards the candle, we felt heat is transferred by convection, that is from solid to the air, and on the sides there is no convection. So in the coastal areas where the sea, air from the sea is known as sea breeze. So generally the houses made in the coastal areas, those windows face towards the sea, because the cooler breeze or the cooler air comes from the sea. Similarly, cool air from the land moves towards the sea when it is night. That is known as land breeze. So at the daytime we can experience the sea breeze. The windows which are facing the sea will get the cooler breeze. Similarly, at the time of night, we feel cool air from the land when it moves towards the sea. That is land breeze. Hope you understood the terms sea breeze and land breeze. This we can experience in the coastal regions. In the summer, the sun heat comes to us by another process. That process we call it as radiations. So when we come after playing in the sun, we feel that our body is radiating heat. We feel that we are getting more hotter, but actually we are radiating the heat from our body to the atmosphere outside. The radiation does not require any medium. Without medium, all hot bodies radiate heat. Sun radiates heat and it touches us. Similarly, after we come home and we radiate our heat to the atmosphere. Kinds of clothes we wear in summer and winter. In summer, we all keep light color clothes, and in winter we keep dark color. Why? In summer we keep light color because if we keep the black or any hot or dark colors, it will absorb more heat and our body starts to heat up. In winter we use the dark color. For example, we use a wool. Wool is a poor conductor of heat, so it keeps us warm. So for that, why we need to wear white or light color during the summer, not black? For that, let's do an activity. So take a cup and fill the water in it. So after filling the water, cover one cup with black paper or any black cloth. So after covering it, keep it for 1 hour in the sun. So after keeping for 1 hour, see the temperature of the water inside these both, and you will be surprised to get the answers. So what might the result be? Which body has hot water and which body has a normal water? So the black body will have hot water and the white body will have normal water. Why? Because black absorbs the more radiations. Hope you have understood all about heat, heat transfer, why we should wear light or the dark color clothes during winter or summer by activities and experiments. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like, share and subscribe Gyan Galaxies for more videos. Thank you.